Stapleton here, and I got a psychology lesson for you today that really centers on you rather than your clients or your prospects. And as you know, the bulk of what we do together, the training that I put out, deals largely with how do I build more authority, how do I create a stronger personal brand so that I get clients coming to me rather than me having to chase them, so I have better pricing control, so that I can attract better clients and ultimately hopefully make a lot more money and work less. But I want to talk to you today about your own mind and your own psychology and some of the things that limit us as individuals from achieving all that we want out of our businesses and out of our lives. So the big question I want to pose to you is this: is your mind constructive or destructive? And the first thing that you need to understand is that regardless of where you are, your life is now and is forever going to be in a constant state of change. From the day that you are born until the day that you die, you're constantly moving. Now, while you may find some insecurity in that, and there's no doubt there's a lot to look forward to in that, because it means no matter where you are right now, there's no guarantee that you're going to stay there. So if you're at the pinnacle of your career, if you're at the very top, the only thing that's going to keep you there, the only thing that's going to keep you moving farther and farther up is your continued efforts. And to the same end, if you are in the gutter right now, if you've had failure after failure after failure, there's nothing saying that you have to stay there. Life is constantly changing and adapting, and we have to adapt with it. Now, if you ask most people, most of them will admit that the past has no control over the future. That just because we failed in the past or just because we've had success in the past, there's nothing saying that we're going to have that same failure or success in the future. It depends entirely on the choices and the decisions that we're making today. And yet, most of those same people will end up looking to the past to identify and to make determinations as to whether or not they're going to see success in the future. And it's not odd when you think about it, because we're really dealing with historical perspective. You see, the determination that we have as to where we're going to go and what our future is going to look like is based on really two things. And what we achieve is based on two things. Number one is your belief about your own potential, about who you are. And number two is the action that you take. So if you're looking historically, which is really the only measuring stick we have to judge the future by, and you're seeing failure after failure after failure, well, then it's not surprising that your belief about your potential and what you can do and what your future looks like is going to be negative, or at least skewed negative. And what do you think that does to the actions that we take? Well, of course, it slows those actions down. It causes us to second guess. It causes us not to try when we should, not to take risks when we should, because the fear of failure and the fear of going back to where we were or having to deal with sometimes it's just the humiliation of yet another failure is too much for us to bear, and so we stay stagnant and we don't move. But here's what I want to tell you. This is the incredible thing, is that it's shocking to me that when we think about the future, that we would create a world that was anything less than perfect. Because you see, the fear that you have about the future, or the hope that you have about the future, is really completely and totally irrational, because it's based on a future that has not and may never occur. So how crazy is that we base what we think the future will look like, and we have either fear or hope about the future based on absolutely nothing other than what happened yesterday, when we know yesterday doesn't control tomorrow. And so that's what I mean when I say, is your mind constructive or destructive? What are you feeding your imagination? Because you can visualize whatever kind of future that you want. And hope and fear are really just irrational emotions about a future that hasn't happened yet. And so if we have to choose, if we get to choose as human beings whether we want to be excited or sad and have hope or fear about the future, why would you choose anything other than hope? Why would you not spend your days visualizing all of the ways everything that you want to have ends up working out? Got a big promotion coming up? Just visualize yourself making it, right? Got a big client that you're going to sit down with, big client meeting. Hey, visualize yourself crushing that meeting. There is actual psychological evidence that proves, they've done study after study after study that proves visualization changes outcomes. And so this is what I want you to do. This is my challenge to you over the next week. I want you to make a concerted effort to constantly visualize the most positive outcome from any future situation that you might encounter. And anytime negativity starts to crop up, anytime fear or concern start to invade your subconscious and your conscious mind, I want you to make a conscious effort to shift those ideas to positive outcomes. Now, this is going to be very difficult in the beginning. And the reason for that is because we have somewhat of a animalistic need to view the negative or to be concerned about the negative, because it's the only way our species has been able to survive as long as it has, is we are constantly worried about where's the next attack going to come from, where's the animal going to come get us, where's the other warrior clan going to come over the hill. We have constantly been focused on the negative for our entire lives, for all of human existence, in order to try and stay alive. But when we're talking about 2019, it does not behoove you to spend a great deal of time obsessing about all of the negative outcomes in your world. It's much more beneficial to you to focus on the positive. And so make this concerted effort to do this. And what's going to happen is over time, over a couple of days of focusing on this, a few things are going to happen. The first thing is your mood is going to improve significantly. You're going to be more excited, you're going to be more optimistic about the future, you're going to be more ready to start the day, more anxious to start projects. All of that is going to change, and people around you are going to start to notice the change. Okay? The second thing that's going to happen is you're going to start to see some new opportunities come into your life that you didn't know were there. And the fact is they were probably staring at you the entire time and you just didn't realize it because you were focused only on the negative. You were focused on protecting what you had rather than going after your dreams. And the second that you start shifting that mindset, all of a sudden these new opportunities are going to present themselves. And the third thing that's going to happen is you are going to start to see in your life, you begin to move closer towards that perfect reality that you envision for your future. And it will seem almost effortless, because you've done, by shifting your thought process and opening up your mind to new opportunities that help get you where you want to go, all of a sudden you naturally start to move in that direction. You naturally start to attract people to you who can help you get to where you want to go. These things all happen when we change mindset and when we start visualizing a more powerful and compelling future. Okay? Focusing on the negative, focusing on the downside, doesn't benefit you beyond the rational need to consider downside obstacles, right? Most of us are not thinking rationally about it. Most of us are not coming in and going, okay, what are the downside risks to doing this versus that? Most of us come in just freaked out. Oh, what if this happens? What if they hate me? What if somebody says something bad about me online? What if my mom calls me a scammer because she's a super progressive and she thinks that nobody should be selling stuff online and she thinks that this is nonsense? Whatever it is, all that negativity that you're dumping in, all these outcomes that you envision happening that are likely to never occur, you've got to push that aside. And you've got to really focus on, what do I want my life to look like? And then every day focusing on that vision and expecting great things to happen in your life. Now, I know this is a very touchy-feely kind of live stream that we're doing, but my point being is that changing your mindset helps you as much as learning how to change other people's mindsets, right? We spend a lot of time talking about how to control, how to influence, how to persuade, and how to do that by creating a brand and authority in the niche that we're in. But just as much success will come from your mindset as that of your customers and prospects and clients. So do that for me this week And then send me a note and let me know what you think. Let me know what happened, because I really would like to share some of the responses to people who do this. And of course, if you like this video, hit that share button, hit the like button, send it off to somebody else, let somebody else see it. And then you can always check out more at what is it? I don't even remember what the email address was, jasonstapleton.com. Or if you're interested in one of my coaching programs, you can go to authorityexplained.com and check that out too. And I'll be back later. Take it easy.